Hello, everybody. My name is Armin. I'm facilitating the Ask Me Anything meeting of becoming a senior today. That's the third session that will be recorded this year. So as you can see, we've got loads of support engineers on the call. Maybe we could do a very brief introduction of everybody. If we go around the Zoom call list. Charles, if you want to introduce yourself quickly, please.
Sure. My name's Charles. I'm based in South Africa, and I am a, what do they call it? Standard support engineer. I don't think that's the right intermediate.
Intermediate, yeah.
Support engineer. Yeah, so I'm just here to learn more and listen to what people have, and I'll ask a few questions, I guess.
Thank you. Philip?
Hello there, my name is Philip. I'm a senior support engineer here. For the last couple of months, I'm based in Serbia, Belgrade, but I'm not sure what else I should say here, but that's basically about it.
That's great. Thank you, Philip. Manu?
Hey, I'm Manu. I'm based in Germany. I've also been a senior support engineer for a couple of months now and have been with GitLab for almost 1.5 years in total.
Thanks. Chris?
Hey, yeah, I'm Chris, based in the UK. I've been here actually a year today as a support engineer. So looking to see what the challenges and opportunities becoming a senior support engineer presents.
Thanks, Chris. Ronald?
Well, I'm Ronald. I've been here for ages. I literally had to look it up. 4 years, 9 months. I've been senior for, I don't know, 3.5. So I'm looking forward to answer any questions that you have.
Thanks, Ronald. Asma?
Hi, I'm Asma. I've been in GitLab for 2 years and 5 months, and I've been a senior for the past 8 months.
Thanks, Asma. Daniel?
Hi, I'm Daniel Diniz, also a senior support engineer at GitLab. I've been around for about 2 years, something more, and a senior engineer also for 8 months. Thanks for reminding me, Asma.
Thanks, Daniel. And Katrin?
Hi, I just realized that I've been here exactly 3 years now, and half of that senior, approximately.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Hey, Chris? Yeah.
Well, there's always one.
Yeah, Chris is on mute or sound problems. Lucas, if you could.
Just once before it works. It's like sort of the whole routine.
We can hear you now.
I know, because I fixed it.
Hey, Chris, if you could introduce yourself quickly, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris. Well, what information are you looking for, Armin?
Just generally about you, how long you've been here.
Well, I'm Chris. I've been here for 4 years. And I'm not a senior yet. I would wonder if that's you all know that, right? I've not managed, well, I've not actually even attempted the promotion yet since I've been here. So that's why I'm here.
Same for me. I'm definitely trying to actually learn what to do and how to progress. So thank you, Chris. Hey, Lucas.
Hey, so yeah, I'm Lucas. Hello, and I've been here for like almost 3 years. Senior since a couple of months now.
Thank you. Thanks, Lucas. And last but not least, Emily.
Hi, everyone. I just realized I think I'm the only one from APAC because it's a bit late for us. But yeah, I'm Emily. I've been here a little bit over 2 years, going 3 years. I'm a support engineer.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Right. Without further ado, let's dive into the question pool. So I think you all have the document open, but I'll verbalize the questions, and then if any senior support engineers want to answer them, please go ahead. So the first question was, how often or I guess in this case, did you update your promotion doc? Do you keep track of your wins, and how do you do that? That's definitely a question I'm interested in, because that's one of my problems I'm struggling with, to actually keep track of my work. So if any senior engineer wants to go first, please go ahead.
I think I was exactly in your place. I had a lot of problems of keeping track of my work. I'm definitely master procrastinator in this case. So in my case, it was like I started creating promotion doc and abandoned it for a long time. Then I was like, it's about time to just submit something. So I spent a week collecting everything I did within the last couple of months. Every now and then I was taking a screenshot of something in Slack that was interesting, and that was it. But then issues, merge requests, tickets, these are the things that are still there. It's just hectic when you need to do it in a quick time. So definitely not recommending my way, but my ADHD makes me work on deadlines. So probably that's why I did it this way. Not recommended for most of people.
Thanks, Lucas. That's definitely helpful insight, because as I said, I'm procrastinating there. Definitely.
I would say the moment you think like, hey, this is kind of cool or interesting or anything along those times, throw it in a doc. It doesn't have to be your promo doc. Just throw it in there, and then at least you have a link to it. You have some description or anything to that. And when you go back, like Lucas did, I did the same thing. And it took me a week, multiple times, in order to get everything, sorted out. And if you have it in a giant doc, you already have the links available. And you only have to pick out, okay, this one is more interesting than that one, and that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ronald.
One thing I'd like to add is that for the ones that are not aware of it, the promotion doc, the final one you submit to be promoted, has changed quite a lot since a few years ago. So before, you would indeed paste a lot of stuff in a big document of all the things you've did, and people that would read it would have to go through them to actually understand what were those and know specifically what they are. But now it's more descriptive. You are free to free text write cool things about yourself, which is challenging in its own way. But it doesn't require so much that you have all this stuff archived somewhere to copy paste it, So if you're able to remember in a way that's easy for you, like you write one line of what you did somewhere or when, then you can just write that back in your final promotion doc in a more poetic way, or however you feel like, whatever is your style, So that's more how I went about it. I just try to remember the most important highlights I had, and I refer back to a document, but it was not so much about having this long list of facts as it was before. So that would be what worked for me, just having reminders of the highlights so I could write them back in a nice way.
Great, Daniel. Thank you. Great insight. Maybe one more.
I just like to add that there is a template now that is named Track Your Work, and it was not there before. It's there now, and even though I was not using it when I did my promotion doc, and it was, I filled a different promotion doc, and I had to change it 3 days before submitting it because the form changed. But I mean, for now, I use this template or this doc, Track My Work, and you'll find it helpful for like the annual evaluation, as well as filling in the promotion doc. So yeah, it's a good way to keep track of whatever you do with your time.
Yeah, thanks, Asma. I am using that doc instead of the promotion doc at the moment, based on Cynthia's recommendation a while back. So yeah, thank you. That's really good. Yeah.
Can I add just one more quick small thing? You can use GitLab itself for this as well. You can go through your MRs and your to-dos, everything that you completed in the past, also as a source of information.
Ah, yeah, true. Actually, yeah, why not? Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Make
By
testing
the
life
way,
easier.
yeah, quite important thing, like from like the philosophical perspective, not really practical. When you're tracking your work, don't treat it as a promotion doc. It's just a draft. It's a collection of stuff. And to get anything to your promotion doc, look at the senior support engineer description, all of the things that senior is supposed to be doing. And based on that, pick from the list what actually matches the best. So your best work that is actually like more senior than your regular daily job. Sometimes the things that I was like, oh, this was awesome, it was so difficult. It was difficult, but it was my like normal thing for a support engineer. There was nothing senior in this. So that might be important, but definitely put a lot of stuff. It's better to have more than less, because then you have, as Ronald said, you have something to choose from.
Yeah. So you can filter out later on what really stands out. Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Great. Thank you, everybody.
Speaking, one more little tool. Speaking of filtering and of tracking it in GitLab, there's a customer support tool called user contribution search, and we can of course adapt that to our own user, and then it gives you like a really nice big table with search input and so on. So it's I found it often more useful, because sometimes you remember some keywords from specific issues or tickets or something. Sorry, you can't do tickets, of course, but sometimes it's not so easy to just filter through all of the MRs or something based on the metadata, but by keyword, it's possible with this. So that's quite helpful, hopefully.
Superb. Great. Thank you, Katrin. Okay, let's move on to question 2. So what do you think is the biggest difference between a support engineer and a senior support engineer?
Very difficult question.
I guess I can start. The main thing, at least for me, is confidence and actually knowing how to push the issue forward. Usually, even if it's just a thing you've never seen in your life, it might not be the only time this issue has occurred. So usually you just check the tickets, check with other engineers, check the documentation, check with the developers, check everything you can to actually just keep the ticket moving forward, would be my recommendation. But in terms of like stuff that's considered a senior level issue or an intermediate level issue, I guess that line is very blurred. Each of us has specific types of things that we are very good at versus not so much. So something that might be trivial for me might be something that's very difficult for someone else, and the same for me. So it just comes down to what type of skills you have versus how confident you are in them.
I mean, may I break format and try to answer as a not senior engineer here, which is probably a bit of an odd twist for this, but in this is the reason I want to raise this point is because I've been told many times that I got to get the show on the road and do this thing because I'm already performing like a senior. Was the phrase that was used, performing at a senior level. So I've explored this topic with my manager kind of a lot, and what does that mean? What does that mean? And the picture that I've formed is that what it means is you take more of an interest in your colleagues' work, and you take more of a leadership position in the team. So I don't want to reduce it down to less, but I might in this statement. But it to me it comes down to guiding, helping, training, learning, and sort of paying more attention to what needs to become a part of our knowledge base. So expanding like our nets, those to me feel more like senior responsibilities. What do you all who are actually seniors think about that?
Thank you, Chris. Sorry, Ronald.
No,
just to add to this, I've watched the other two recordings of this session that happened across the globe, and that was one of the takeaways from the other two sessions as well. But I will let the senior support engineers answer here that are on the call. So
I think Chris is pretty spot on.
Yeah.
In terms of, as a support engineer, you look at more of a ticket level. When you're senior, you look a little more higher. It's no longer the actual problem of the ticket. Are you seeing multiple of these? Are people getting stuck on a specific topic? So your overview goes a little bit higher and see what else is going on. If you go to staff, it's even higher. That's the difference in kind of the levels. It doesn't mean that we no longer do tickets or anything like that. That's not the difference here.
So that's just a coincidence, Ronald.
A coincidence that we still do tickets, or that
you don't do tickets? I was trying to be funny. It didn't land.
As a joke.
Sorry, mate.
My terrible joke failed. I'm sorry. Please proceed.
I left, Chris, and I would like to make a bridge actually between what Philip said and what Chris explained, because there is a connection. I believe Philip focused a lot on the fact that seniors are also becoming more confident and better at the normal support engineer job. And I think that leads to freeing up time to look on a higher level, like Chris said, so we still do ticket work, but you got so comfortable with it that you can keep that level and still have time over to free your mind to take the team to the next level some way. And that's a bit the challenge, I believe, of becoming a senior, because you are then challenged to see how you can do that. How can you contribute to the team? And there's no template for that. There's no someone saying, hey, maybe someone can help, but in the end, the job is up to you to see how you can bring your skills, or what can you share with the team to improve it, make it better. So yeah, for me, that's something I've been keeping my mind very busy lately, and I believe everyone that becomes senior should start thinking in that way as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Would anybody like to add something in addition to that?
Yeah, I might quickly add that basically when you get promoted, nothing really changes that much, because you are promoted because you are acting as a senior, not because you are expected to act as a senior right after changing your title. So that's the one thing, like nothing really changes significantly or drastically in that very moment. You just continue to grow, and by continuing to grow, you can smoothly move to the third question, probably.
Yeah, thank you. So Chris Nightingale, to answer your question, as you've been told you are working at that level, then as Lucas pointed out, nothing changes. You just go for the promotion.
Now, I mean, you did really well segueing me to a very important caveat to the whole thing, actually, which is important to mention. This is where I'm falling short at the moment. I'm still for some reason I'm slow. Not for some reason. I know why. It's just how my old noggin works. But I'm slow to adopt GitLab, the dog fooding GitLab still in many of my own processes, which I think is why I've never felt ready to file for my promotion. I feel like I still need to close that gap, because it is very important that you have a body of work you can reference on GitLab.com, MRs, doc updates, comments, just activity, so the change. Mukesh points out that the change doesn't occur the day you get promoted. It has to occur as you work towards getting promoted. And what I'm still working on is just closing that last gap, is becoming more proficient and efficient at using GitLab in my own processes, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, from my perspective as well, I think you have to feel comfortable of actually going for the promotion as well in your own head. It's not just are you actually working at that level in all areas. You have to feel comfortable. I agree.
So it goes back to confidence, doesn't it? Because that's a big blocker for me. Is I never feel like, well, my idea is good enough to actually commit. You know.
I think those are the next questions that coming in anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah. You're right. We're drifting off here. Okay. Let's move on to question 3. Thank you, everybody. So question number 3 is: are you working towards staff support engineer or anything else as in a promotion direction?
Yeah, I'll start.
I see a lot of people hesitating.
I'm
Yeah,
curious.
I figured.
So
we had Van here.
From the moment I became senior, I said to my manager, "Great, now I'm going for manager position." Because for me, senior was just a step in between. My perspective has slightly changed because managers currently aren't being hired, but there's also more complicated things attached to it. So I actually recently shifted my focus to staff.
Okay, no, that makes sense to me. On the other hand, for me personally, manager is a completely different job, though.
Yes.
You're stepping away from the technical side too much, in my opinion. That's why I've never actually pursued that that direction, even in previous roles.
Interestingly enough, if you look at staff, Cynthia is our only staff support engineer right now. She does almost no technical stuff. I literally talked with her 2 weeks ago about this subject, and she's doing almost no tickets anymore, no technical things. She's mainly focused on processes. So she's almost doing the same thing as a manager at that same level.
Yeah.
If I may add, we did have a staff engineer, which is Will, but I think he moved to a different position.
Will moved to Gitaly, who was very technical. Drew was also a staff who also
We
had actually multiple.
We lost you briefly there, Ronald.
Oh, sorry. Drew was the support engineer or staff support engineer before Will and Cynthia, who also moved to a different department, who was mostly soft skills, same as Cynthia.
Thank you.
I can add that I personally decided that maybe one day I will go for a manager position. It will be somewhere when I grow up, which might be never. But so far I enjoy technical stuff so much that the only thing I'm thinking about is stuff. Like I could also try to move for engineering or something like that, but yeah, basically I decided that it's not my way. So I am not yet working towards stuff in the means of creating a promo doc or something like that. I'm more learning other things, like less technical, but as Ronald said, more soft skills, but still within the technical realm, which is, for example, I became geo stable counterpart as my path towards senior, and I'm getting involved with a lot of things that are happening there, just to build that bridge between support and engineering for geo. And I'm trying to basically make some difference, make some waves to get noticed. Basically, what you need to do is you need to make a lot of noise, brag about yourself when you have something to brag about, because without it, no one may notice that you did something important just like that. As my manager says, squeaky wheel gets all the grease, which is kind of true, especially in the remote environment where nobody can actually see you doing stuff on daily basis and talking to you on your desk. So that's important. Make noise, tell about what you're doing. And as I said, as for the stuff, I'm working towards it. Nothing else so far in my radar.
Great, thank you, Lucas. Manu, you actually wanted to say something at the beginning there as well.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I am working towards it. Similarly to Lucas, not super actively yet. I'm mainly trying to just kickstart the promotion document early on, because for a senior, I wrote it in about a week, and that was very stressful. So this time I would rather have the change happen with the promotion document instead of summarizing all the change in an instant.
Iteration.
Indeed, iteration. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Unless somebody else wants to add anything to this, we can move on to question 4. So question 4, how long did it take from deciding, yes, I will be going for that promotion, to handing in the finished promo doc? How long did it take? That just jumped. How long did it take to arrive at the yes decision? So I guess Manu just said it took him a week, which I think is probably not desirable. If anybody else would like to share their experiences there, please.
Yeah, I can start. I started the promo doc, I guess, earlier than when I actually got promoted. I guess I always knew that I wanted to go for a senior right away, but it took me some time to change my mentality from where I came from to how GitLab works. And I guess once I got that going, my manager decided like it's time to go ahead and start filling the promo doc as we go. And for me, as I was saying, I used a different template for the promo doc, but I was keeping track of tickets and MRs that I would want to relate to when the time comes. And I've had to kind of deliver my promo doc in 2-3 days. So, and moved to a different template. It was not exactly a pleasant experience, but we got it done. But even that the promo doc, the template itself was different. I guess having a track of what you want to add there did help a lot. It was a matter of reformatting things, because the new template was more about not about the number of tickets or MRs that you do, but more of how this aligns or serves the values of GitLab. So it was more about how to phrase it to fit in this format. But yeah, it's stressful, but it's still doable. Yeah.
Thank you, Asma, for sharing that. Thanks.
I basically never said yes. My manager just went on a call and was like, "Hey, you should work on your promo doc." And I was like, "Okay." I just started.
You just started.
Same here.
Ron, but to be fair, you were behaving at a senior level even when I joined. Like, I think you interviewed me, didn't you? Interview me?
I interviewed a lot of you, but basically when I joined, yeah, I think so. When I joined, I was already operating at a senior level. So I got this question. I was like, did something change? No, because for me, I've always worked on that level. The only difference was I was working on this house where I'm living in right now with a contractor, which required an enormous amount of time. So when Tom said to me, he's like, "You work on your promo doc," first thing I said, like, "No, I'll finish the house first before focusing on something else next to it." Well, the house took like a year longer than planned. So all the time I was just throwing stuff into my promo doc, never really looking at it, and then basically sorted out, switched to different templates like 20 times. At some point get really frustrated about it. And then basically the decision was made within GitLab to, if you start working, you don't longer have to change your promo doc in terms of layout. They just have to accept this. This is the one that you use when you started. This should stay the same. That got me over the finish line.
Ronald, when you say you came in already at a senior level? Do you mean technically or in confidence? Everything
that I did was describing me as a senior, and a lot of people basically said I was a senior. Even my manager at some point said, like, yeah, you're a senior. We just need to push your promo doc through. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge for me. It's understanding what makes you senior in terms of stuff I know, stuff I should know. For me, I think I should know everything, and I can't make that distinction between senior and not senior.
I don't know everything. I've been working, I think, the longest. I don't know everything, so that's not true.
Yeah, I guess I've got to get over imposter syndrome first before I even consider the promo doc. It's yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But anyone with imposter syndrome, sorry, fake it till you make it. Like pretend that you are a senior. If you don't believe you are a senior, just pretend to be one. And if everyone believes you, it means that you are a senior. Seriously, that's how it worked for me.
Don't get me wrong. Even as a senior, you can still feel like, oh, I should know this because I'm a senior. It's not true. You get your own specialties. Even if you're not aware of them right now, you have to. You just need to focus on that and develop those more.
Yeah, like seriously, the bigger difference between senior and non-senior is not the actual knowledge that you have. It's being comfortable with what you don't know. That's a more important difference, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to second that definitely. And I'd like to share a confession that I think I felt the worst when I was actually going through the promotion phase, because my imposter syndrome was kicking hard, and I was feeling like, am I actually up for it? I mean, it's happening, but do I deserve it? And I kept feeling that a little bit after, until I guess when it was actually announced, and I found lots of nice comments from everyone. I felt like, maybe I'm not that bad, you know. But yeah, it's normal, I guess, to feel that. We get it from time to time. But as Manu was saying, I guess I started to feel a bit better about it, about everything, even before going for the promotion, making peace with that I will not know everything, and it's just fine.
Thank you, everybody. That's really comforting to actually understand that other people have gone through or have gone through the same emotions as well. That's definitely good. Good to hear. Okay, let's move on to question 5. I think we're not doing that great in time, but we don't have to go through all these questions. Question 5, for the seniors that have been here a while, how do you feel your role has changed with the rollout of the SGG model? So I would imagine some of the seniors here on the call actually didn't work as seniors before the SGG. So maybe the people that actually did work previously, but before the SGGs were rolled out as a senior, could maybe pick this up first. Yeah, Ronald, don't disappear.
Yeah, sorry. Last call, I was the only senior who had experienced this as well. The large thing that changed for me is I'm no longer having a full overview what everyone is doing, but mostly my group. So before that, I could, see people struggle or experience them because I could see every ticket. Now I can still see it, but my main focus is, in this case, Ginkgo. So I can experience it within the group of Ginkgo, but it's a very small selection of what you experience compared to everything else. That's a very big difference.
So I guess that plays into what was said earlier, that as a senior support engineer, you're looking for the bigger picture, for the overview, what kind of tickets are coming in, where are people struggling, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So that would make sense. Yeah. So you actually just because your main view is the SGG view. Yeah. Katrin, you joined. You were senior before that as well, I think.
Yeah, pretty similar. However, it's relatively easy to get around this by regularly checking the other groups. But it's one more step. So yeah, I don't also do this often. What I have instead is a Zendesk filter for some specific organizations, which I know, for example, send in tickets regularly. So you can get back this kind of overview somewhat, but the role I think has shifted a bit to like a group internal kind of advisor a bit. And then I presume, for example, as you mentioned, what Cynthia was doing, the staff role is now probably tied to some better overviews again, and not so much a group specific focus.
She's not in any group.
Cynthia.
Cynthia is not in any SDG group.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. Would anybody else like to comment on that? Okay, then let's move on to question number 6. How do you feel your ticket work specifically has changed after becoming a senior? Is it more or less, faster or slower? I think to an extent we answered that already, but if anybody would like to share any more insights or information on that.
Well, for me, I guess it's more. I'm trying to take more tickets to take part of like the share of the complex tickets in the queue, and I feel like responsible for that. And I'm still trying to find the balance between my ticket work and other stuff. I'm still trying to find my feet in there, but I wouldn't say it is less at all. For me, it has been more.
Thank you. Thanks, Esma.
Yeah,
I think
me,
it's a balance between. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Philip.
All right. I think it's a balance between quantity and quality. You could pick up a lot of easier tickets, but I do see some people that they're just, even though they have like 5 or 6 tickets, each of those is like months old and they're trying to resolve it. So we can't really measure them like being equal, like doing a password reset ticket versus troubleshooting a specific database issue is not really equivalent. In terms of like the ticket work itself, as long as you're confident in what you're doing, as long as you want to keep pushing the ticket forward, you're always free to take it. Like, for example, I've literally taken a ticket I know nothing about yesterday for the purpose of like learning and pushing it forward. If I get stuck, I can just ask for help, and that's a good thing.
And that's again what Manu said, right? Being comfortable with what you don't know, that makes the biggest difference. Just going for it. And to answer the question myself, I don't think it changed. That was definitely a place I was already, I felt I was already senior at. I just picking these tickets I had no clue about and taking them to resolution. I didn't change the amount as I was doing before. It's just, like I said before, that the capacity increases as you become better at them. So you are also able to handle other senior responsibilities with the same amount of workload.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Okay, let's move on to question 7. How do you feel about the promotion process here at GitLab? Can you compare it with any prior experiences from previous roles or anything? Is it, I mean, it seems to be relatively straightforward in my limited knowledge, but any experiences there?
I explained it in the previous one as well. At one of my previous companies, the decision if you were promoted was based on the number of years you were working for the company. So when I joined, there were 2 seniors in that company who were basically juniors because they were fresh out of school when they started. I had a ton more experience than them, and it makes it really difficult to really see them as a senior because they couldn't help anyone else because they basically didn't know how to solve the problems. At GitLab, that's not the case. You already proven you're a senior because you've been doing that for months before you get promoted. So when you reach out to a senior, you know, yes, they're capable of handling this or helping me or at least pointing me in the right direction. Anything that's related to a senior, you know, they're capable of.
Yeah, for me, the promotion process itself is totally different than what I've seen in any other company. In my previous job, I was like promoted 3 times, and every time I had to go to my manager, and he was ADHD like me, so twice I had to talk to his manager to move my manager because they were like good friends and they were going on motorbikes together. So like when we had a team event, we went for a beer and I had to say like, hey, Robin, can you just move my promotion because I'm like doing all that stuff and I want to be promoted. That's how it happened. Like no document, no nothing. They just knew what I'm doing because I was pretty vocal about it. Here, document. You have like clear guidelines what the senior means. It wasn't the case in any of my previous jobs. So yeah, much different. On one hand, it's much easier if you are like a very structured person that can follow processes. For people like me that have difficulties doing that, it's difficult as hell, but it works.
That goes to show that GitLab is a mature company. Like the company itself existed for many years at this point, and I'm guessing that they've tried one way another, like iterated on the process. Because the current one, I'm liking it. Like I like that all I gotta do is just document it, give it to my manager, and then just follow the process that's outlined. As you mentioned in previous companies, I had the unique experience of being in a small company, like less than 10 people, and in a medium, less than 50. In both cases, the promotion is different. Like in the first one, it's based on how they see you. In the second one, pretty much the same, although there might be some other person that just needs to vouch in terms of like what you know, what you don't know, if you deserve the promotion. GitLab being a mature company and everything, we have a lot of people. There's no way to like know everyone and know what they're doing. So having everything documented and following a simple process, I'm loving that approach.
Thank you. Thanks, Philip and Lucas, for sharing those insights. That's very, very true. My experience from previous roles as well. It seems to be a much more structured, formal approach here. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So we haven't got much time left. One question I would like to ask is question number 9. Has the promotion changed how you view yourself?
I think the promotion itself won't change you. It's the entire process towards promoted is what's changed you. Like I mentioned before, by the time you're getting promoted to senior, you've been doing that for months.
I can say one thing maybe it is, and that's a bit the promotion itself and not so much the process, because the one thing that does change is your actual job title, right? So everywhere people look at my profile, they will now see senior, and that does make a difference. But because you yourself, as you said, Ronald, don't really notice it that way because you have already gone through the change through a much longer time, you're not really aware of that much. And I don't remember the conversation with whom I had that exactly, but someone told me that, and it made me think, oh yes, you're right. So someone who doesn't really know me and will look at, okay, who is this? What does he do? What's his job title? They will now have a different first impression of me. And that is something to be aware of. There is some weight behind that.
Yeah, I was thinking that. So, for example, if you jump on a Zoom call with a customer and your title is obviously there on display, would you say the expectations from your counterpart, from the customer, are different because of the title, or is that just an emotional pressure that you put on yourself. I personally would feel similar to you, Manu, where you think, yeah, okay, there is something else there. A customer probably has, because of that, has higher expectations.
I've never experienced it in a call myself, that because my job title is senior. I've noticed in tickets when a complicated ticket comes in and a customer gets frustrated, the moment you reply like, "Hey, senior support engineer," they go, "Oh, okay." They kind of expect you, okay, that's it. But that's how you use your title. That's not necessarily how I changed the view of myself when I got promoted.
Yeah, I on the other hand, do not care or haven't noticed any difference externally towards the title of myself, but personally, internally, like I said before, I do notice I expect more from myself in the sense of I feel there's a pitfall to remain working as an intermediate in the way that, oh, just open the queue or just handle my tickets and work the whole day like this. But I notice now there is an internal voice inside me saying that I should be doing something on a higher level, pushing, keep my mind thinking on what can be done. Like I said, what can be done on a strategical level, what can be done to take the team to the other level, and get out of this comfort zone that I already achieved, that is working tickets. So it's a personal, internal expectation that came with it in my case.
I think that's very personal, and it will depend from person to person, really, and everyone will feel it differently. I personally haven't noticed any change for myself because I always expect from myself more than I do right now. It's kind of my way of being me. I always expect a little bit more to push myself towards something better, higher quality, and stuff like that. But as I said, it's personal, and everyone will probably feel it differently.
Fantastic responses. Thank you, everybody, for those insights. We have time for one more question. Maybe question number 10. What do you think is more important for a senior, technical skills or soft skills?
I think a good senior has a balance, personally, very good balance. That's the thing.
Because
yeah, I agree.
To help others and to be mindful of how everyone works differently or handles stuff differently. So you need to understand that to be able to help them. And also the technical skills to be able to help them. So
yeah, so the balance has to be there, I guess. Yeah.
I would say you may be a senior that is very balanced. You may be a senior that is super technical. You may be senior that is super soft skills oriented. And if your strength is one of those, follow it. And I think we have seniors that are more technical. We have seniors that are more soft skills, and it doesn't really matter. It's just you do something that is more than expected from intermediate. Like I don't feel like there is a strict requirement that you have to be one or the other or both equally strong.
yeah, it doesn't have to be 50-50, but you have to have a bit of both.
You have to have a bit of both to work in customer support, right? You have to have soft skills because otherwise customers would probably hate you or won't understand you or something like that. So we already have that. We all already have enough, I think. And it is the way you choose more technical, operational.
You're right, Lucas. Absolutely. We wouldn't be in this job if we wouldn't have a bit of both. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Ronald, you posted you're happy to extend the call. If anybody needs to drop, apologies for actually not managing the time better, but I thought the discussion was great. That's why I didn't want to really interrupt it.
Doing a great job, Armin.
I'm happy to overrun if you
Me
are
too.
happy and have time, but if you need to go, then that's absolutely fine as well. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance.
I can definitely say I didn't plan anything for today because I'm on pager duty, so I'm expecting to talk randomly at any time.
Okay, that's the perfect segue for question number 8.
Question number 8, exactly. Yeah. So if you could change anything, I noticed this question actually was a lot of people struggled in the previous sessions to answer that, but let's give it a go anyway. If you could change one thing about being a senior, what would it be?
Yeah, no more pager duty. But that's, I mean, it's not really senior related. I guess we can all relate to
it's
that
not, no.
wish.
Yeah, can anybody think of anything? I guess everybody seems to be happy in their role, so I would imagine there's not really any major issues there. Otherwise, we would have open meta issues, I would think. But
I could. I don't know if I should.
We're not pausing the recording.
Pause the recording.
Pause the recording. No, we're recording.
There. Okay, I'm gonna share something out there, and I want to see if other seniors agree with me. But one thing that's not being said here about becoming a senior is that there are hidden expectations from managers. I believe not everyone of them apply them or all the time, but I do believe that there's a tendency of calling out on seniors for dealing with more urgent matters, right? And it's, I think it's normal to be expected. I don't know if others also feel the same, that changed for them as they become seniors, or not at all.
No, I'm afraid I was always being called out.
Yeah, you know, I have a feeling that I am being called out to things that are within my area of expertise, regardless of my role. So I was doing geo, and when there was something geo, it was like, hey, Lukasz, can you take a look at it, for example? And before I was a senior, right now it's kind of the same thing. I haven't felt the difference at all, really.
I also don't really see it as a hidden expectation. I think managers and other support engineers know your worth, you know, because you're a senior, and because of that might reach out more. But it's not an hidden expectation from a manager that you would take on those tickets.
Could it be based on the experience that the management team has with your work, Daniel? So maybe it's not because you're a senior, but because you have previously dealt with hot tickets in a way, and technical skills that basically show the manager, well, you are a person that could handle this ticket better than maybe
it's not about, sorry to interrupt, but it's not about ticket work. Like, it's what I said about becoming a senior and acting on a strategical level, right? So in a way, it's up for each senior engineer to make out what that would be, how their influence would be. But I do feel like there's also a tendency, and managers should be doing that, figuring themselves out how to take the team to the other level, right? So sometimes they have ideas of their own, and they suggest, hey, maybe the seniors could do this or could do that, and that's totally okay, you know. And in a very soft way, there's no demands, there's no hard definitions of this is what you're gonna do, which is great about GitLab in general, right? But if I had to think really hard about something I would change about seniors, would be these nudges, because yeah, I think if every person should go where they're comfortable with, and not fill in ideas from someone else if it's not what they want to do, you know. And it's like that in GitLab, nobody's forced, but there is a little bit of a nudge or pressure, I feel sometimes, personally.
Thank you, Daniel. Katrin, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I would like to agree with all of what was being said. So the senior name tag solidifies the expectation a little bit, but it's also a capstone about the fact that you have already proven that you can fulfill this expectation earlier in the promotion process, right? I mean, what Lukas said, wheel and grease. What's the saying there? That already happened before, right? And for example, giving the people who call upon you for urgent or escalated tickets, for example, a good impression of your responses and the fact that you are responding well and can handle the situation is a large part of the promotion process as well. But I wanted to add one item about strategic things that wasn't discussed before. Strategic can, of course, also mean specifically large customers, for example. So I know, but yeah, I mean, there are some customers, of course, who are quite large and therefore strategic. And seniors can be expected to be asked more about these, for example, in the focus groups or in escalation. So that's something I noticed, definitely. But yeah, that's part of the role, I would say.
I just linked one issue just because you mentioned Daniel, hidden expectations. I don't think they are hidden. They are just like not very well communicated. But the issue that I linked is basically very non-hidden expectation or trying to define expectations for senior role in case of, for example, account escalations, right? So like, I don't think they're hidden. I think they're just not well defined yet. They're just ambiguous right now.
Funny story, when I joined about a month in, my manager asked if I could jump on a call with a customer, pretty large one at the time. And I was like, so what do you want me to do? You know, want me to solve the problem? I've been working here for a month. That's not going to be, or do you want me to be present? And he basically said, just be there. I wasn't able to help them in any way. I got a lot of technical support or technical people on the call from GitLab that were helping. Now I'm 4 years later, same thing happens. You know, customers getting annoyed. I get pinged either in DM or you know, on a thread when it's going on. Hey, this is happening. Can you do something? And like for me, that has never changed, and I don't mind personally.
Totally agree.
Yeah, it's often just the sheer presence, Ronald, isn't it? Yeah, you're right, actually. Just getting expectations. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Right, so we are 10 minutes over time. Do you want to continue with the further questions, or shall we call it?
Anyone has a question? I don't think we only have 3 non-support engineers or seniors left. If they have a specific question that's not in the ticket, maybe answer that one and call it.
Good point. Chris, Brenda, do you have anything else that you would like to ask?
Not at the moment. It was good listening.
Thanks, Brenda.
I don't know. I'm wondering if you think it's wrong not to have aspirations to become senior.
Not at all.
No.
No, many people do that.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
But there's also the middle ground. Sorry, you can become a senior but not update your profiles.
I think there are some expectations when you're senior, not necessarily even if you don't update your titles.
It works for a week, maybe.
It's if you don't want the responsibility or you feel like, you know, I don't really care to be senior, then don't just tell your manager, you know, I don't really care. I'm happy as it is. It might change in the future, it might not, but that's it.
Also has to fit your life balance. Ronald, as you pointed out, you were in the middle of actually your building works going on. Everything has to, you know, sometimes that has to take precedence over any promotion aspiration. So yeah, I absolutely agree with everybody here. I think it has to fit each individual person.
Good conversation. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, Asma.
Yeah, I was just gonna iterate on that and say, like, it's one of the best things that we have in GitLab, and it's not in other work environments. The pressure of moving forward and how you be feeling, or how your managers would make you feel if you said that you're not ready for it or you don't want it. And it's one thing that I love about here, that there is no this kind of pressure from managers, and even like there is no peer pressure that you should have. Everyone excels in their own way, and you should enjoy it as you want. There is nothing that should make you feel bad about not wanting to go forward with any other title.
Definitely. I can only tell that I wasn't pushed towards senior. I was definitely actively encouraged by my manager, but he never made me feel as if I have to do something, as if there was any expectation or consequences of not pursuing that. I had to specifically ask my manager to push me more. Because, as I said, my ADHD brain works on deadlines. I asked him to give me a deadline to do my promo doc. He did, and he was like pushing me much more often because I asked him to. And that's the only way I was able to finish my promo doc and get promoted. Because I was like postponing it already like once or twice submitting the doc because it wasn't even near to be ready. So yeah, there is definitely no expectation, but if you want someone make you feel like there is, you can ask them and they will probably try their best to do it. So it's definitely totally up to you if you feel comfortable staying on an intermediate level for longer. I personally don't see any thing that could that would be wrong about it. Totally fine.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Great session. Really loved all your ideas and opinions and insights into the whole process. With that, we're way over time now, unfortunately, so apologies again. But thank you very much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you,
I'm
everybody.
sorry for the blooper, and I can cut the video if you want before uploading.
Okay.
Good luck to
Okay,
all the
I'll let you
aspiring
review it,
seniors.
Lucas. Thanks.
Later.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.